Have you ever just stopped and wondered what our reality is really built on? I mean, what's the most fundamental thing? Well, today we're diving into a pretty revolutionary framework called informational physics. And it suggests that the universe isn't built on matter, stuff you can touch. It proposes it's built on something way more basic, information itself. And that brings us to this huge question. For centuries, science has taught us that reality is all about matter, right? But what if that's not the whole picture? What if there's a deeper layer? What is our universe actually made of when you get right down to it? So, on one hand, you have the traditional view, a universe of matter, force, and motion. It's kind of like a giant cosmic machine. But on the other hand, informational physics gives us this totally new perspective, a universe that's actually built from information, structure, and the relationships between things. And look, this isn't just some small tweak. This is a complete rewrite of our most basic understanding of everything. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with this new blueprint. Then we'll walk through 10 major shifts it causes in our thinking. After that, we'll uncover the one pattern that connects them all. And finally, we'll look at what this could mean for the entire future of science. All right, let's jump right into the heart of it. We're about to look at 10 specific areas where this information-first idea completely redraws the map of what we thought we knew. First up, the big one. Cosmology. The old view basically predicts a heat death, where the universe just keeps expanding and cooling until everything is cold, dark, and random. Kind of bleak, right? But this new paradigm suggests the exact opposite, that the universe is actually converging, heading towards a point of maximum order and integration. And the implication of that, it's profound. It means existence itself might actually have a goal. Next, let's talk about something we think of as nothing, the vacuum of space. We're taught it's just an empty void. Informational physics, though, sees it as a structured substrate, almost like a cosmic hard drive, absolutely packed with information. If that's true, if space isn't empty but is an active medium, the takeaway is just massive. It means everything is fundamentally connected to everything else. So, if everything's connected, what about life? The standard story says life is just a random chemical accident that happened on our little planet. This new view? It suggests life is a geometric necessity, something that's bound to happen when a system gets complex enough. And the shift here is deeply personal. It means you're not an accident. You are a necessary part of how the universe is unfolding. This also changes how we think about, time. We all feel time as this smooth, straight line, an arrow always moving forward. But what if it's more like a rhythmic pulse? A structured, repeating process where information unfolds in cycles. That would mean when something happens in that rhythm is just as critical as what happens. Now, for a really bold one, let's talk quantum physics. We see the quantum world as fundamentally random. It's just a rule of the universe. But this new paradigm suggests that what looks like randomness is actually a geometric projection. Think of it like seeing the 2D shadow of a complex 3D object. The shadow might look chaotic, but the object itself is perfectly ordered. The implication is staggering. At its deepest level, reality might be completely deterministic and predictable. And what about cosmology's biggest mysteries, dark matter and dark energy? The old view has us searching for some kind of missing stuff. The new view says, hold on, maybe there's nothing missing at all. What we're seeing might just be an effect of informational curvature, a fancy way of saying the fabric of space-time itself is being warped by information. In other words, the universe isn't hiding anything, we've just been reading the map wrong. And this applies to gravity too. We think of it as a fundamental force that pulls things together. This framework reimagines it as scalar coupling, an effect caused by matter interacting with that information-rich vacuum we talked about. So think of it less like a pull from an object and more like a push from the space around it. And this leads to a wild, game-changing idea. If gravity is an effect, not a core force, we might one day be able to engineer it. Okay, how about the multiverse? We usually picture it as a bunch of separate bubble universes. This shift offers something way more elegant. Harmonic octaves. Don't think of them as other places, but as other frequencies, all sharing the same space. Kind of like how hundreds of radio stations exist all around you right now. It means space itself is really just a spectrum of different frequencies. This brings us to maybe the most personal question of all. The old paradigm is pretty clear. Life is a one-shot deal. But if your identity is really just a pattern of information, not just a physical body, this model introduces something called scalar recursion. It basically means the core informational pattern of a consciousness could carry on and reintegrate at a different scale. The implication is, well, it's provocative. It suggests depth might not be an end, but some kind of transformation or upgrade. And for our final shift, let's look at cause and effect itself. We assume the past pushes the present forward, right? A causes B. But this new view suggests the future can also pull the present toward it. Imagine a river flowing toward a specific point in a valley. Events could be attracted to a future outcome. This completely flips our idea of causality, replacing what looks like randomness with an underlying sense of purpose. So we've just run through 10 absolutely massive shifts across all of science. But here's the thing, they aren't just 10 random disconnected ideas. There is a single, powerful pattern that ties them all together. Let's zoom out and see what it is. You see the pattern here? In every single case, the old way of thinking describes a universe of randomness, of separation, and of decay. But the new paradigm consistently reveals a universe built on structure, on connection, and on a journey toward resolution. This isn't 10 different theories, it's one single idea that's showing us a deeper logic at play across all of science. So what does this all really mean for science itself? Well, when you adopt a new blueprint like this, you don't just solve a few old puzzles, you actually create entirely new fields for us to explore. This table really sums it up. In biology, life goes from being a total fluke to maybe being an expected outcome of the cosmos. In quantum theory, the goal changes from accepting randomness to searching for the hidden order beneath it. Consciousness might not just be something that happens in a brain, but something that emerges from complex information itself. And maybe most surprisingly, purpose could go from being a purely subjective, philosophical idea to being an actual, objective force in the universe. Now, it's really important to give credit where it's due. This entire comprehensive framework that we've been discussing was developed by the researcher, inventor, and author Kevin L. Brown. So, what are the stakes in all of this? This quote really hits the nail on the head. This isn't about just solving a few weird scientific problems. It's about changing the very conceptual foundation that modern science is built on. And it leaves us with one final, really big thought to chew on. If reality is truly made of information, does that mean the universe is, in some fundamental way, becoming aware of itself?